Hello. We will talk about different discoveries per word. As you know, we told you with that before. We have 50 discovery per existing word within your dictionary. Those discoveries are very important for everybody in their life as well, for developing in a system, for research, for anything you might think of. Now, we're going to start with the most known area in the world, because again, we're going to start the existing stuff which everybody knows. And this would be existing classification, sorry, existing concept classifications. Remember, we have several lectures now. This is part one of classification of unified classified word, or classifications in this case. So, and this is the first thing we're going to start, the things we know very well, the things we apply, the things we do. Concept is a way of living, the way of developing anything in any systems, in any system engineering, software engineering. This is a problematic thing, by the way. And I will show you why. This is again, just watch me every episode for this. We have close to probably 10 episodes or 11 about these classifications. Let me see. So this is again, before I start, let me explain to you, before I start, as I told you, everything we do about based on concepts. Concepts is actually changeables, tangibles, or you can feel it. You can really touch it and stuff like that. And this is again, this is very problematic because again, those concepts, they change and they actually over time. They could change very quickly, by the way. So when they change over time, means the system has to have a maintenance problems, a lot of maintenance problem, which is a dilemma already exists. As soon as you build a system this way, it becomes legacy systems. You have to spend a lot of money on it too, by the way, to keep it running. Why? This concept has no knowledge or very limited knowledge, by the way. And those concepts, by the way, any word has a huge number of concepts. We have to stop doing this. This is nonsense. Those concepts cannot be reusable. They talk about reusability, accessibility, customizability, adaptabilities, portabilities, reliabilities. Keep going. Self-adopted, self-customized, self-managed. This is nonsense. Existing software cannot do this, period. They call it, this is again, for any system, has to have 25 quality factors. Those concepts, we cannot define quality factor for them. We cannot define non-functional requirement for them. There is nobody knows how to do the requirement, the actual requirement, and the non-functional requirement for them. That's why you're building things is going to go away. Spend a lot of money and you have building new versions, new updates, and maintenance contracts and so on. This has become, it stop us from doing what's supposed to be doing. More systems and more applications in many different areas in life. So this is again to tell you, because again, you know this very well, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So please, in those episodes or those parts, in those discovery, if you have a questions, address it to me. I would be happy to describe it to you. Those actually 5 books already exist. Many different portion of it is already done, by the way. So we kind of look at an existing concept classification. We all knew it, by the way. This is something that's not new, but I'm just starting with this to show you how important is unified word classifications. And I will explain what unification is, by the way. So this is again, Existing concept classification based on the modeling of any system. Modeling, this is in engineering. Modeling done in every field of knowledge. In art and science and engineering, they all have models. And modeling here, this is a model they use, which is actually, this is in engineering at least. Because again, you remember, those modeling techniques, it changed from one field to another, but they're still the same thing. So they just the same classification or very close, but they different names. So, for example, in database modeling, we have models and views. In systems here, we have models in system, in database, models and views, still concepts. The people in database do not really understand the actual requirements or non-functional requirement of each entry or each relations in a database. They build a static database. They're not building dynamic database. They claim they cannot do it, by the way. So if you create visualization for it, you create huge number of visualization. That means you create many different view of the data, by the way, anyhow. But again, we're looking at this one now. Just we go with engineering now. Views, this is a concept, it really would be a word that has a limited concept, and they have views, instance, and masks. So as I told you in database, we call it views. The word is a model, but does not exist in a database also, by the way. But again, in software, in system engineering, we use instance. So we build the application per instance. This is crazy. So I'm building an area of many houses, means I have to build every house individuals. And this is really a dilemma. That's why we have to think about how to unify this idea and do it based on words. Because concept, unfortunately, as I told you, have minimal knowledge, by the way, or none. So there are many different concept classification from one field to another. So formality, formal or not formal, by the way. In this case, we're going to talk about this in modeling, in engineering, and different fields to do modeling, by the way. Why is concept classification is important? Existing concept are the building block of the field of knowledge. Just a dilemma by itself. Why? I tell you why, what's coming here, by the way. This is again to show you every existing concept classification is based on different criteria from one field to another. And this is a big dilemma itself, because again, consequently, each concept class has unique characteristics. Let me explain that very closely with an example. So if I have an account in finance, they're actually different than the accounts in your wheeling and dealing with different, with every organization, everybody. You have accounts there. Different in a computer account, different in a payment account, different in trust accounts. This is nonsense. This is even, they cannot, people in different fields, they cannot communicate about concept very well. That's why unified words is the best way to do. And we'll talk about that too, by the way. So this is again, number 4, it shows you the problems. Existing concept classification has many significant problems. I listed only 2 here, but there are many, huge. And this would show 300 different problematic issues with concepts when we talk about comparing between the word and its own concepts, by the way. But let me talk about this too here. Misunderstanding between different professions. So the people in accounting, the people in computer, the people in entertainment, the people in any field of wheel and deals, they cannot communicate very well about accounts. They have different view of this account, by the way, different instance how they look like, by the way. So this is one. Named concepts, which is actually instance, not the unified word itself in all classification, by the way. I would here the most to be a little bit kind. Therefore, you cannot really achieve reusability. You cannot achieve adaptability, cannot achieve reliability, cannot achieve anything. 25 non-functional requirement related to the way we build systems does not exist. We'll talk about them all the time, but they cannot do it. So this is really a problematic issue. This is a huge issue in software and system engineering, by the way. This is again a problem. So I'm going to show you this in differentiation between 300 difference plus between the word, and we need to use the unified word. And I'm going to explain what the unified word is. This is again, this is one of them. And this is about the whole entire thing about words, unified words now, by the way. So let me say, let me describe it. This is the case. Well, I have an account here and there and there. I kind of really encapsulate the knowledge in one engines, and I call it a patterns or engine. And this knowledge is a unified word. So concept become the application of this engine, by the way, the application of these patterns. Patterns never change. It's actually there for you to use, to adapt to do, stuff like that. We're going to talk about and show you how we do this, by the way. So, so this is again, example. Existing classification is based on modeling only in this case. We don't want to get into debate in this existing classification made from field. Just modeling everywhere. When we actually in software and system, we call it noun single and noun phrase. Single noun and noun phrase. That's it. That's what we build things on, by the way. I build software all my life. I develop software. I advance a lot of area in software engineering and system engineering. So the first concept, single concept. So for example, if you have a program, would be an instance of certain program. If you have a project, would be an instance of certain project. So this is again, this is what we do in building based on instance. We call them classes. This is again, this is unfortunately, this is an instance. People in database, they call it view and model and views. Views are instance. But unfortunately, and actually the models has multiple instances, but the model itself is represent a concept, not a word. Let me say. So the other one, which is known phrase, we call compound concepts. Two or more single concepts, by the way. Instance. Remember this. We cannot build the whole entire world yet because the knowledge there is missing. That's what I'm really trying to tell you. So new model architectures, because again, this is again multiple concept, we call it here, artificial architecture class, such as a specific data analysis, a specific risk assessment, a specific machine learning. That's why we have huge number of machine learning. This is a big, big industry, big marketplace, billions of dollars. Believe it or not, is being built on concepts. That means one day, most of them would be poof, go away. Because again, like I told you, they build on something changeables and tangibles. And therefore, even the algorithm they build there, they don't know the word they do the algorithm on. That's why most of the algorithm has many problems too. Because like I told you, they have holes in it. Cannot really do understand the actual requirement, the function requirement, the ultimate solution. Therefore, they end up with algorithms that many people are going to be rewriting this algorithm, updating the algorithm, new version of these algorithms. Remember, I work on an algorithm called Common Filter. This Common Filter, this one small book like this is very important algorithms. This is, again, we have too many variation of it. The original one is gone. So variation, until I don't know if they do anything, unify the specific algorithms. They must unify. And they build on top of it as many applications. So this unification, just to kind of really get rid of all the problem within the algorithms, too, by the way. So anything, you must be building based on unified words. What the existing class specifications? Second, one, system class is a noun or a concept instance in modeling. So a class is specific named class, such as Kayseri 1000, such a single international space station, a single car, just the name of a car, like, Mercedes 2013 model such and such, World War II. This is an instance of a war. This is what really we model too, by the way. And this is a dilemma because we're going to keep going, modeling things all the time. Instance doesn't make any sense. Actor instance. So a person or a smart hardware according to ML, or a specific creatures according to my classifications. That's why I have a lot of data related to unified language modeling, because it has a lot of holes in it. But now it's based on words. There's a lot of discovery there. Is amazing discovery, because this is very important too. How about any parties? Any parties instance? Any parties actually called legal parties. So such as a specific citizen, or maybe a specific organization, like a specific company, profitable or not profitable, a specific associations, a country, just a single country. Or you could have two countries, by the way. This is again, it seems like a word, but this we use instance. Now, political parties like, Democratic or Republican Party, by the way. So this is actually to show you role, instance, as named professor, named student, named dean, and others. Authorization, this is another point, does not exist. So we build the roles within the system, but not the right way too. It's really problematic. So for example, the bank has different customers in different area. They build all the application for all the customers. No, there is potential within your wealth of customers. You have to start to look at each one of them individually or groups. They could really potential for really making different business and extend your business. They don't do that. So we don't really classify the roles within any application. It's just a role. So you are a depositor, you are an investor, you are the same. Unfortunately, software doesn't recognize them very well by instance, because we build an instance there. The people watching, using the software, we call it now external roles. Now we build software can be accessed by children. They're not supposed to be accessed to the software. We have to do this. We must, because all the system high secret. They could access when many hackers could access it. So we specify who's gonna has access to this software to avoid problems and thefts and crimes and stuff like that. We don't do this. This does not exist in software. Unfortunately, this is what the way it is in this case. I want to thank you. Was a pleasure talking to you about this. And I hope if you have any questions, call me, maybe write to me, leave a message. Thank you. Have a good day.